Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make a wheat and gluten-free lemon drizzle cake. Alright, so we'll start off by looking at the ingredients. You're going to need, really nice and easy, 170 grams of butter. You could make it lacto-free if you wanted to use a lacto dairy-free spread instead. 170 grams of caster sugar, and then 170 grams of wheat and gluten-free flour. Now this one I think is a combination of potato and rice flour, but just check on the packet and it will tell you what's in there. You'll also want 2 lemons, 2 eggs, and a teaspoon of gluten-free baking powder. Again, just check on the ingredients just to make sure it doesn't say anything about gluten on there. Alright, and then equipment-wise, you're going to need a mixing bowl, obviously, to mix all the ingredients up in. You're going to want a greased and lined loaf tin. This one's a £2 tin, okay? You're going to need a chopping board, a sieve, a grater with the side where you can zest fruit. You're going to want a separate jug or bowl to crack your eggs in, just to make sure you don't get any shell in there. You're going to want a sharp knife cutting up your lemons. You're going to want a spoon or a spatula, something to mix your ingredients with, and then to measure out your teaspoon of baking powder, you're going to want a measuring spoon. And then if you've got one, something to juice your lemons with. Okay, so let's make a start. First thing you're going to need to do is mix together your butter or your spread, if you're not going to use butter, and your caster sugar. Alright, so it would be a good idea to leave your butter out of the fridge for a little bit of time just to let it soften up. Let's get all that in there. Everything out of the way. And then you are going to want to cream this together, okay? And so what you're looking for, I do this in real time, what you're looking for is a really nice, smooth texture, all right? You'll know that you've creamed your butter and your sugar together because it will sound smooth, because at the moment when I'm mixing this, I can hear all the grains of the sugar, and then once I've finished creaming this together, it won't sound granulated anymore. And what you're looking for, as well as a nice smooth texture, is it will actually go lighter in colour. And as well as mixing the ingredients together, the purpose of this is also to incorporate a little bit of air as well to help your cake rise in the oven. Okay. You'll notice while I'm doing this that I've got a green chopping board. So as and when you watch me do any kind of cooking or baking on YouTube now, you'll notice that I'll have different colour chopping boards. Alright, so they will indicate the kind of food that I'm working with. So my green chopping board is for fruit and then sort of more salad type vegetables. Alright, right, we're nearly there now. You'll see this is all starting to combine together and it's starting to get much smoother, much easier to work with. And it sounds nice and smooth as well. Okay, right, so that's my butter and my caster sugar creamed together like so. So I will just put that to one side, and then I'm going to do my eggs. Okay, I'll do that in front of you, as you can see. So always do your eggs in a separate bowl or jug, like I said, just to make sure you don't get any shell in there. Out of the way. Okay, now I'm going to use my fork just to mix those together. Now don't be tempted to just throw this in all in one go, because you'll find it's a lot harder to incorporate and get a nice smooth mixture. So just whisk your eggs together Then I would probably do it in thirds. So just pour a third of your egg mixture in. So once you've mixed in your third, yeah, really, really beat it in, get all that air incorporated. Once you've mixed in one lot of egg, you can then add the next lot, okay? Try not to do it too much too soon, because it will get harder to incorporate. So once you've got a nice, smooth mixture, you can then add the next lot in. So now I've done that and I've given my arms a really good workout, I'm now going to start on the lemons. Alright, so always zest your lemons before you even try and cut them, just to make your life a lot easier. So really, really careful when you're doing this, you don't accidentally catch your knuckles with your thumb. Alright, it's really easy to do. Okay, and what you're looking out for is where you start to see the white pith. As soon as you start to see it goes white, stop grating that section, turn it a bit, and then grate the next bit. If you go all the way down to the fruit and you get all the white pith in there, it'll make it really bitter. Alright, so you just want just the yellow part. Okay, so I finished doing that now. So I've zested my lemon, so I've got all the peel off and grated. I've cut up my lemons and I've just juiced half of one of my lemons and I've put that in a glass, which I'm going to put into the cake mixture in a second, alright? First though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my gluten and wheat-free flour. So I'm going to get a sieve, I want to get lots and lots of air into this mixture. That doesn't have to be from really high up. I just want to aerate that flour. Okay, separate all those particles, make sure our cake's nice and fluffy and rises really well. And then to that, I'm also going to add a teaspoon of my baking powder. Level, not a heat teaspoon. Let's just put that in as well. I'm going to start to gently fold my mixture. Now what I mean when I say fold is I mean very slowly. You're going to scrape your spoon around the edge of the bowl, and then with one smooth motion you're going to flip your spoon over and then cut through. So I'll show you again. So you're going to scrape the side of the bowl with your spoon, then in the same smooth action flip your spoon over and cut through. Right, I'm just going to do that another time, and then I'm going to pour in my lemon juice. Remember, it's half a lemon. And I'm going to carry on folding. Almost there now. Okay, nearly finished. I'm now going to just carefully my lemon zest in. Just for the last couple of folds. You don't want to overwork this mixture, you don't want to undo all that hard work you did earlier. You know, when you creamed the sugar and the butter together, when you whisked in that egg, when you sieved your flour, you don't want to undo all that work you've done putting air into your mixture. So just very carefully mix those ingredients in. And we're going to transfer it over to our lined loaf tin, okay? Don't do this from a great height. Just very, very carefully just ease this in. very gently just even out your mixture in the loaf tin. Okay, so this is now ready to go into a preheated oven at 180 degrees centigrade or gas mark 4. I think that's 350 degrees Fahrenheit, but just double check that, all right? So either 180 degrees centigrade or gas mark 4. Remember, your oven needs to be preheating when you do baking, so it's the right temperature for when the cake's ready to go in. Also notice I'm wearing oven gloves when I'm putting the cake into the oven. Right, although my cake tin or my loaf tin isn't hot, the oven and all the shells and everything inside the oven are hot. So if when I'm putting this in I accidentally catch, say, the back of my hand, all right, it's very easy to burn yourself at the beginning of cooking something, not just when you're taking it out. So just use oven gloves when you're putting something in as well as taking. Right, the cake's in the oven now. It should take about 40 minutes. What you want to do though is you want to just check if you've got a skewer. Brilliant. If not, then just a clean knife and just check that it comes out clean. If it's got cake mixture still stuck to it, it means it's a little bit raw in the middle. If you're finding that your cake is starting to cook or overcook on top, but it's still undercooked in the middle, what you can do is you can get some foil and just cover the top and stop it from catching, stop it from burning while the inside is still cooking. Just a little tip there. But you really want to make sure that your skewer or your knife comes out nice and clean. All right. While you're waiting for that to happen, you can do a little bit of clearing away. What you can also do is start to make the drizzle, the icing to go on top. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you just purely want a lemon cake, a gluten-free, wheat-free lemon cake, you can just, wait obviously till it's cool, but you can eat the cake as it is. But if you want to make some icing, if you want to make some drizzle to go on top, I'm just going to show you how, all right? So what I've done, to save a bit of time, is I have juiced the rest of my lemons. I've put those into a glass, just put that to one side. And then I've got out my icing sugar. Now the general rule of thumb for the right sort of consistency for your drizzle would be about 3 tablespoons. So the biggest spoon, so 3 tablespoons of icing sugar and 5 teaspoons of your lemon juice. So start off with that ratio and then have a look at the consistency, have a look at the amount. If you want to make more, then you can make more, but that, generally speaking, is about the right consistency. So what I'm going to do is put my icing sugar in first. To mix it until it's nice and smooth. Yeah, so you can't see any lumps of icing sugar. really pourable. It's about the right consistency. You don't want to make it too thick so that it just sits on top of the cake. You want it to actually soak into the cake, you know, and then have a little bit of a glaze on top is the kind of effect you want. Alright, so that is about the right consistency. However, I like a lot of drizzle on my lemon drizzle cake, so I'm going to double that. Okay, so I'm going to make twice the amount when I actually do my cake. Right, so that's how to do the drizzle. So I'm going to just finish my clearing up and my washing up and my putting away, and then I will check back in with you later when my cake is out of the oven and cooled down. Alright, so I will see you then. Right then, my cake has come out of the oven and I've left it to cool down. What I should have said to you earlier is do not be tempted to put your cake in the fridge to cool it down quicker. Alright, leave it to cool down at room temperature. Mainly because if you put it in your fridge, it's going to actually warm up the internal temperature of your fridge, and therefore it's not going to be the right temperature to keep food that's already in your fridge cold. Alright, so don't be tempted to do that to speed up the process. Right, so here is said cake. It is all done and dusted, and I've got my finished drizzle. If you have a metal or wooden skewer, brilliant, use that. If not, use a fork. Okay, does the job just as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to make lots and lots and lots of tiny holes. So yeah, so you can either do it with a skewer like this, or you could just do it with a fork. Does the same job. And you do that to get the drizzle right deep down inside and get your cake really nice and moist. Alright, so we're going to just start off just by drizzling, just very slowly over the top of the cake, and just let that drizzle soak in. So just give it a second just to get through those holes. Notice that I've got my cake on some new grease-proof paper on top of my cooling rack, alright, because inevitably some of that drizzle is going to go down the sides. It's just one less thing to have to clear up. So just start off by just focusing on getting that drizzle on the top. And then you can let it go down the sides if you want to. Like so. And there you have it, your finished lemon drizzle cake.